Have you ever wondered what goes on inside the mind of a so-called criminal genius? We hear about killers who elude capture for years, even decades, taunting police with their seeming brilliance. They plan meticulously, cover their tracks, and sometimes they even construct what appears to be the perfect alibi. But what if I told you that the very thing that makes them feel so smart is also their greatest weakness? There's a single fatal psychological flaw that brings even the most intelligent offenders to their knees. And today we're going to expose it. Let's talk about narcissism and hubris. These aren't just personality quirks. In the world of high IQ criminals, they are the seeds of self-destruction. Think of notorious figures like Ted Bundy or Dennis Rader, the BTK killer. On the surface, they were seen as intelligent, even charming individuals. Bundy was a law student, handsome and articulate. Rader was a church council president and a family man. They cultivated masks of normality that were nearly impenetrable. This duality is a hallmark of the narcissistic offender. They live in two worlds, the public-facing one where they are admired and respected, and the secret one where they hold ultimate power over life and death. This need for power and admiration is the core of their narcissism. They don't just want to commit a crime, they want to get away with it in a way that proves their superiority. The crime itself is an act of ultimate control, but the true prize for them is outsmarting everyone who tries to catch them. The police, the public, the entire system. They see the investigation not as a threat, but as a game they are convinced they will win, because they believe they are fundamentally smarter than everyone else. This overconfidence, this excessive pride, is what psychologists call hubris, and it's a powerful, blinding force. So where does it all go wrong? It goes wrong with the alibi. A typical criminal might try to create an alibi that puts them miles away from the crime scene, something simple and hard to disprove. But the narcissistic killer can't resist making their alibi a masterpiece. It's not enough to just be innocent. They need to perform innocence in a way that showcases their intellect. They might create an alibi that is incredibly complex, full of intricate details and moving parts. Why? Because a simple alibi doesn't feed their ego. A complex alibi that successfully fools investigators is, in their mind, the ultimate testament to their genius. This is where the fatal flaw emerges. The perfect alibi becomes their obsession. They spend so much time crafting this elaborate story that they start to believe in their own intellectual invincibility. And this is the trap. In their desperate need to be seen as a mastermind, they often do something that seems counterintuitive. They insert themselves into the investigation. They can't stand being on the sidelines. The game is no fun if you're not on the field. Think about Ted Bundy. After escaping from custody not once, but twice, his hubris was off the charts. He felt untouchable. Instead of laying low, he continued his spree, becoming sloppier, more arrogant. His belief in his own charm and intelligence, the very tools he used to lure victims, made him careless. He thought he could talk his way out of anything, right up until the very end. He couldn't resist the spotlight, even when it was the spotlight of a police interrogation room. Then there's Dennis Rader, the BTK killer. For 30 years he was a ghost. He lived a quiet life while secretly terrorizing Wichita, Kansas. He gave himself the name Bind, Torture, Kill, because he wanted credit for his work. He craved the notoriety. For years the case went cold, and he could have remained a free man forever. but his ego couldn't handle the silence. In 2004, driven by his need for recognition, he started communicating with the media and police again. He wanted to know if he could still play the game. And here's the crucial mistake. He asked the police a question that reeked of hubris. He sent them a floppy disk and asked, "Can I communicate with a floppy disk and not be traced?" The police, playing his game, replied in a newspaper ad, "Rex, it will be okay." They lied. Of course they could trace it. They found metadata on that disk from a computer at Christ Lutheran Church, and the document was last saved by a user named Dennis. Just like that, the ghost had a name. Dennis Rader's 30-year reign of terror ended not because of a brilliant piece of forensic evidence found at a crime scene, but because his own arrogance led him to hand-deliver the clue that would destroy him. He had to prove he was still the smartest person in the room, and in doing so, he proved he was a fool. This pattern repeats itself time and time again. The narcissistic killer believes their intelligence is a shield. They think their intricate plans and perfect alibis make them immune to capture. But their intelligence isn't a shield. It's a cage. Their need for admiration, their desire to be the puppet master, forces them to take risks that a more cautious, less egotistical criminal would never dream of. They leave a trail of breadcrumbs, not of physical evidence, but of psychological tells. They might contact the media, inject themselves into victim search parties, or try to help the police with the investigation, offering theories and insights. They do this because the silence is unbearable. If a genius commits the perfect crime and no one is there to admire it, did it even happen? For the narcissist, the answer is no. So the fatal flaw isn't a forgotten fingerprint or a misplaced fiber. It's the psychological need to have their genius validated. The perfect alibi is never enough. They must also be admired for it. They construct this elaborate performance of innocence, but then they can't resist stepping out from behind the curtain to take a bow. And it's in that moment when they are blinded by the spotlight of their own ego that the cuffs are snapped on. They are so busy playing chess against the world that they don't realize they've checkmated themselves. The very intellect they worship becomes the instrument of their downfall. They are not caught because the police are smarter. They are caught because in the end their hubris makes them predictable. The smartest killers don't have a perfect alibi. They are the fatal flaw in their own perfect crime. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this dive into the criminal mind as fascinating as I did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content. Let me know in the comments which case you think best exemplifies this kind of psychological self-sabotage. Stay safe and stay curious.